When Olivia Carter moved into apartment 4B, the entire hallway changed. Not because she was loud. Not because she threw parties. But because she had a presence. Every morning at exactly 7:40 a.m., she stepped out in business casual, coffee in hand, phone pressed to her ear. Every evening around 6:15 p.m., she returned looking exhausted but determined. She lived with intensity, fast steps, sharp sighs, doors shutting a little too hard. And directly across from her? Me. Daniel Reed. Remote software engineer. Quiet. Observant. The guy she definitely thought was weird. The first time it happened, it was an accident. I opened my door the same moment she did. We locked eyes for half a second before she quickly looked away. The second time? Same thing. The third time? She frowned. By the fifth time, I could practically feel her thinking, why is this guy always staring at me? The truth? I wasn't staring at her. I was staring past her. But she didn't know that. One evening, as she walked in, she dropped her keys. I stepped forward instinctively. Hey. I'm fine, she snapped quickly, gathering them before I could reach down. Her eyes narrowed slightly. You don't have to watch me every time I leave my apartment. The words hit harder than they should have. I'm not. You are, she said firmly. It's uncomfortable. Before I could explain, she disappeared into her place and shut the door. I stood there in silence. She thought I was some creep who monitored her schedule. If only she knew. 3 nights later, everything changed. Around midnight, I heard heavy footsteps in the hallway. Not the usual soft apartment sounds, these were slow. Intentional. I froze. Because I had heard those steps before. A tall man in a gray hoodie had been lingering near the stairwell for days. I'd noticed him on my security monitor. He never knocked on a door. Never carried groceries. Just waited. And watched. Specifically, he watched 4B. That's why I had been paying attention. That's why my timing always matched hers. I wasn't staring at Olivia. I was making sure she got inside safely. I never said anything because I didn't want to alarm her without proof. But that night? The footsteps stopped directly outside her door. Then came a soft knock. I opened my door immediately. The man turned, clearly startled. Can I help you? I asked calmly. He hesitated. Wrong apartment. He started toward the stairs. I didn't look away until he was gone. Olivia's door opened a few inches. Her face was pale. You heard that too? She whispered. Yes. She studied me differently this time. Not suspicious. Concerned. You've seen him before, haven't you? I nodded. For a few days. Her expression shifted, confusion, then realization. That's why you're always out here at the same time I am. Yes. Silence filled the hallway. I thought you were, she trailed off, embarrassed. I know, I said gently. She looked down, then back at me. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't want to scare you unless I was sure. She exhaled slowly, processing everything. Can you, just stand here for a minute? Of course. We stood there quietly for a while. No awkwardness this time. Just shared awareness. The next day, building management reviewed security footage. The man had been checking multiple doors but lingered longest near hers. Police were notified. He didn't come back. That evening, Olivia knocked on my door. When I opened it, she held 2 coffees. Peace offering, she said softly. I smiled. For the neighborhood creep? She winced. I deserve that. We sat on the hallway floor, backs against opposite walls, cups in hand. I misjudged you, she admitted. Women have to be careful. I understand, I replied. You weren't wrong to protect yourself. She studied me for a moment. You really were watching out for me. Yes. Why? That question lingered. Because I'd noticed the way she fumbled with her keys when stressed. Because she always checked her phone before unlocking her door. Because she lived alone. Because someone should have been paying attention. But what I said was simpler. Because no one should feel unsafe coming home. Her eyes softened. For the first time, she held my gaze without suspicion. And I didn't look away. Not because I was watching for danger. But because I didn't have to anymore. Weeks passed. Morning schedules still aligned, but now with small conversations. How's work? Long day? You survived Monday? The tension was gone. One evening, as she unlocked her door, she paused. You know, she said casually, I feel safer knowing you're across the hall. That's good. She smiled slightly. And not just because of the security thing. My heart skipped. Oh. She hesitated, then added, You're not as annoying as I thought. I laughed. I'll take that as progress. She stepped inside but held the door. Dinner tomorrow? As a thank you. Officially. Only if you promise not to file a complaint about me staring. She rolled her eyes playfully. No promises. Her door closed gently this time. Not slammed. Not rushed. Just, comfortable. And for the first time since she moved in, the hallway felt different. Not tense. Not suspicious. Safe. Because sometimes the person you think is watching you is actually the one making sure you make it home.